happy Thursday morning, March 4th, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday morning, so let's begin. But first up, we're gonna begin with a check of your weather. Right now is partly cloudy, 30 degrees, and sunrise is at 6:15 a.m. Also expect dry conditions over the next 6 hours. With more on your weather forecast, let's go to meteorologist Mike Haddad with a full weather forecast. Cold blast Thursday into the weekend. Let's hear about that from meteorologist Mike Haddad.
Does your boiler or furnace vent into your chimney? The majority of chimney flues in New Hampshire are actually used to vent oil.
Thank you very much for joining us, Stormwatch 9 Weather on the Web. Here we are going towards another weekend, and this one will feature temperatures below the average. So after getting our temperatures right back to the norm today, a cold blast takes over, a little bit below average tomorrow, and well below that for Friday into the weekend. Some strong winds begin to take over the next couple of days, but not as strong as what we saw on Tuesday. So while there could be a few scattered power outages, not anticipating any widespread damage or widespread outages across the state. Flakes of snow into Friday, mostly in the North Country, with two cold fronts, one this evening and again one later tomorrow and early on Friday. Then temperatures begin to head higher next week. So it's going to be about 4 days featuring a cool down with temperatures well below average, especially Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. Overnight tonight, snow showers dissipate up north, clearing elsewhere, 8 or 9 far north, teens and 20s, central and south. And you'll notice another cold front sitting well north of the border. As that approaches, what it's going to do is squash the spring warmth well off to our south, at least through the weekend. Now, come Monday, we'll get right back to the average, 30s to around 40, and then by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday of next week, there's a good possibility to get in at least upper 40s to the lower half of the 50s. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it all plays out, but should be much warmer than the next few days. By the way, the winds beginning to crank up overnight tonight so that tomorrow, 15, 20, 30, even 35 miles per hour with a few gusts possibly approaching 40, but should not get up to 50 or 60 plus like what we saw during the day on Tuesday. Still those stubborn winds driving in colder than normal weather right through Friday into your weekend. But then by Saturday and Sunday, while it will be breezy, not as windy, cold, temperatures in the lower 20s north, around 30 south, right through the weekend. Could be a few flurries up north Saturday, otherwise dry. And then partly sunny on Monday, temperatures right back to the norm, and then we should go well above average for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay, and there you go from that weather forecast from meteorologist Mike Haddad. Wow, next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. That looks cool, above average. Oh my gosh. Can't wait for that. And now let's take a look at your morning traffic and see how the morning traffic is looking like for this Thursday morning. It is a check of that morning traffic for all of you for this Thursday morning. In Henniker, you're seeing smooth sailing. Hopkinton, smooth sailing. Bow, Pembroke, and Concord, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. Boston and Canterbury, smooth sailing with medium-paced traffic. Chichester, smooth sailing. Epsom, smooth sailing. Northwood, smooth sailing. And Lee, smooth sailing as well. Durham, smooth sailing. Rochester, medium-paced traffic with some smooth sailing. Somersworth, medium-paced traffic with some smooth sailing. And Dover, medium-paced traffic with some smooth sailing. Newington, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. And Portsmouth, smooth sailing. Portsmouth into Maine, smooth sailing with medium-paced traffic. Rye, smooth sailing. Northampton, smooth sailing. Hampton, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. Seaburg, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. And to the border, Massachusetts. On 101, all smooth sailing on 101 with some medium-paced traffic in some spots on 101. In Manchester and Hooksett area, medium-paced traffic with some smooth sailing. Bedford, smooth sailing. Amherst, smooth sailing. And Milford, smooth sailing. Manchester, Merrimack, Nashua into the border, Massachusetts, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. Manchester, Derry, Londonderry, Windham, Salem into the border, Massachusetts, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. And that is a look at your morning traffic map this morning. Now let's take a look at your traffic cam. Salem, New Hampshire, Route 28 at Rockingham, Toyota. As you can see, no cars in sight right now. And pavement looks dry, so that is good. So things should be good while driving today. And that is a look at your traffic this morning. And now let's take a look at your New Hampshire COVID-19 numbers. And here's a look at those New Hampshire COVID-19 numbers for all of you. There are 75,990 number of people in New Hampshire tested positive for COVID-19. There are 1,175 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And there are 89 current number of hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And that is a look at your New Hampshire COVID-19 numbers. Five more Granite Staters die of COVID-19 as current cases continue to fall. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Living in northern New England doesn't mean you have to spend the winter on your roof. Forever Metal roofs are designed to shed snow while the energy-efficient panels keep your home warm in the bitter winter.
New COVID numbers just in from the state, 244 new cases today, and active cases falling slightly to just over 2,200. DHHS also announcing 5 new COVID-related deaths, 2 linked to long-term care facilities. 89 people are hospitalized here with the virus, but the recovery rate is now at its highest level so far at 96%.
Okay, and there you go on those COVID-19 numbers. New Hampshire on track to administer first doses to educators and staff by the end of March. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Charisse LeClaire.
What is there not to love about Franklin Pierce?
The Pierce Promise New Hampshire Scholarship Program is new at Franklin Pierce for high school seniors enrolling in the fall of 21, and it offers free tuition. You attend Franklin Pierce University tuition free.
At Franklin Pierce University, we are committed to providing New Hampshire students with an affordable, quality education. Spend the next 4 years with us.
Phase 2A, including K-12 teachers, child care workers, and school staff like bus drivers and food service workers, is slated to start at the end of March and run through May. The group includes about 75,000 people and is one of the state's smaller priority groups, but there are questions after President Biden ordered states to get that population at least one shot by the end of this month.
This was the most effective way to get more teachers vaccinated.
They're aiming to do that through the federal partnership with CVS and Walgreens. In a statement today, Governor Sununu acknowledged the federal government can earmark vaccines through that program to those they choose, but said, quote, in New Hampshire, our plans are already well underway for teachers to receive their first shots before the end of March, which follows the White House's request and is a testament to the success of New Hampshire's vaccine rollout. It's still unclear where and how they'll be getting those shots, while some states like Massachusetts are using the federal partnership with CVS starting March 11th for teachers. In New Hampshire, that may look different.
In terms of how the Walgreens pharmacy partnership program will fit into our plan for 2A, that remains to be seen. We're considering the new information that's coming down to the federal government.
And now health leaders say those vaccines could be administered at the state's fixed sites because they can get so many people vaccinated on a weekly basis there. Reporting live, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. AAA says gas prices up 25 cents in a month due to weather increasing demand. With more on that, let's go to WMUR News 9, Jean Mackin.
Living in northern New England doesn't mean you have to spend the winter on your roof. Forever Metal roofs are designed to shed snow.
There are several forces driving up prices these days. New Hampshire is now averaging $2.61 for a gallon of regular, up 25 cents in a month, 42 cents since January 1st. AAA says there are three clear reasons, starting with the February storm to our south.
We had over 26 refineries in the Gulf Coast and in the Midwest go offline. The refineries have also started switching to a summer blend of gasoline, and that's a more expensive blend. It has more additives, it reduces the smog. And then the third is we've seen the highest demand since the pandemic started.
Analysts say more people are getting vaccinated, feeling more comfortable traveling, and more are heading back into offices. AAA points out that New Hampshire's prices are lower compared to other states.
In New Hampshire, we're lucky we're paying less than the rest of the country. We even have the lowest gas prices in New England by over a nickel.
And AAA says prices could peak in March with relief arriving as more refineries get back online. In Manchester, Jean Mackin, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Health officials ready to relax some COVID-19 restrictions at long-term care facilities. Restriction could be eased on visitations and group activities. With more on that, let's go to WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
What is there not to love about Franklin Pierce?
The Pierce Promise New Hampshire Scholarship Program is new at Franklin Pierce for high school seniors.
During a virtual meeting with long-term care providers, state health officials today discussed relaxing some of the restrictions at nursing homes, keeping in mind that many of the changes are subject to a variety of factors, like outbreak status or community transmission rates.
This is going to be a process of relaxing restrictions, right? So we've always tried to avoid extremes and extreme swings in our guidance from one extreme to the other.
Dr. Benjamin Chan says with the rollout of vaccinations into long-term care facilities, they feel they can start relaxing restrictions on certain things like visitation, in-home group activities, and communal dining, keeping in mind that social distancing, masks, and perhaps other types of PPE would be required.
I think what you're seeing here is the difference. We're trying to separate the risk of, or we're trying to separate relaxing restrictions in facility while still taking into account the fact that there's high levels of community transmission.
Another recent change is allowing companion and therapy animals following consultation with the state veterinarian.
Right now, the current state of evidence is that animals are unlikely to transmit efficiently from themselves to humans. So this is where this is coming from.
Healthcare officials said in the future they hope to treat COVID-19 vaccinations as they would other pharmaceuticals that are distributed in these facilities. Reporting live, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Hanover officials link rise of COVID-19 cases at Dartmouth College to off-campus parties. Officials say groups of students cycle through parties. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Over time, the flue tiles inside your chimney may become damaged from water, age, or even a chimney.
Dartmouth College is dealing with a rise in COVID cases on campus. Between students and staff, there are 142 confirmed cases, and 294 are in isolation or quarantine. Classes have gone remote.
Report after report from around the country the past 6 months has shown that on college campuses in particular, it is social gatherings, it is parties that cause the disease to spread rapidly through the student community.
The Hanover town manager says several off-campus gatherings called cruise-through parties could be partly to blame.
I think they were smart. They sort of said we never had more than 9 plus our tenants, but then that group would move on to the next location and another group would come in, and they weren't, it's pretty clear, they weren't masking, they weren't social distancing, and I don't know what they were thinking.
The uptick in cases causing businesses downtown to make some tough decisions to control the spread. Some are doing curbside pickup, others are shutting down indoor dining.
My indicators that I'm looking for is for the cases to start to decline, and I'm thinking that'll take probably a couple more days at least.
In the meantime, the town will send out a warning to students in off-campus housing.
Come on, guys. I mean, we're just trying to keep not just you healthy, but everybody around you, including folks who might be at greater risk.
The town manager tells us that cases seem to be confined to campus and there's no evidence of community transmission. Reporting live in Manchester, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Shaheen Hassan involved in negotiations over the next COVID-19 relief bill. Group of senators push change to limit those eligible for stimulus checks. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
What is there not to love about Franklin Pierce?
The Pierce Promise New Hampshire Scholarship Program is new at Franklin Pierce for high.
In Washington, the Senate is hammering out the finer points of the COVID-19 relief package. Today, a group of senators, including Jeanne Shaheen and Maggie Hassan, won a concession from the White House targeting stimulus checks to those in greater need. Individuals making over $80,000 a year will no longer qualify, and the cap is now $120,000 a year for head of household and $160,000 for married couples. Senator Shaheen also wants to adjust the unemployment benefit booster.
Keeping it at $300 and extending it out longer rather than increasing it to $400. As I have listened to some economists, they suggest that if we can continue it into the fall, that's going to be helpful for the economy as a whole, as well as for those people who are unemployed.
Shaheen and Hassan are also seeking more relief money for hospitals and rural broadband.
One of the things we've learned during the pandemic is how important being connected through the internet is, whether it's telehealth, remote learning. People are working from home more and more.
A minimum wage increase won't be in this bill. Both senators tell us that should be addressed separately. Shaheen says it needs to be done in a way that doesn't sink small businesses.
I also think we should work with some of those folks who are affected to help figure out how we can get them through an increase in the minimum wage.
Here in Concord, Governor Chris Sununu has been very critical of the state-by-state allocation under this bill, arguing New Hampshire should be getting more money and would have under the old CARES Act formula.
Independent analysis says that we are getting more dollars per person than we did under CARES Act, which was a bill that the governor supported.
Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Some business owners will have to repay a portion of Main Street's COVID-19 relief funds, officials say. The change in federal guidance last fall means full amount of PPP loans must be included in grant calculations. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
For the easy and the complex, the small stuff and the big. We're here with the affordable local loans, easy to manage accounts, and financial advice to help you blaze a trail, figure stuff out, and make your money go farther. We're Granite State Credit Union. Live bold.
About 5,000 New Hampshire businesses qualified for $300 million in Main Street funds when the Governor's Office for Emergency Relief and Recovery rolled it out in the spring. Many of the 1,100 that Bruce Berkey represents among them.
They were a lifeline, during the months where we just did not know what the economy was going to do.
Grants partly based on applicants' estimates of 2020 income and losses compared to 2019. And they had to claim 50% of other loans they got, like PPP. In the fall, a second Main Street program, another $100 million to 2,000 businesses, some repeat customers. Those now had to claim 100% of other assistance they received.
I think the feds didn't want everybody effectively double dipping.
That shift of percentages has added some confusion to the math as businesses report actual 2020 revenues. The Department of Revenue Administration having explained that if 2020 revenues plus any COVID relief funds they received exceeded their 2019 revenues, the state would recoup the difference.
I do think this is going to be a small number of businesses, and that the vast majority of businesses that were that benefited from this program are going to be totally fine.
It means that their businesses did well, considering the circumstances of the pandemic and of this past year.
Now, any money recouped would stay in the state, and Commissioner Caswell says those numbers will be discussed this Friday at a meeting of the Gopher Legislative Advisory Committee. We're live in Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News Now.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Capitol on alert after March 4th plot uncovered, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Challenging times are nothing new. Neither are resilient people. There's strength in every family story. Learn more about yours at Ancestry.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo coming before the cameras today. His apology, his words, and the fierce reaction tonight. But we're going to begin tonight with that alarming new bulletin that warns of a new threat against the U.S. Capitol, a possible militia plot to storm the Capitol as early as tomorrow. And after what we all witnessed on January 6th, authorities are now taking this intelligence very seriously. Tonight, the Capitol complex still surrounded by fencing topped with razor wires and 5,000 National Guard troops on duty. We've learned the House has now scrapped its session tomorrow after the warning. Police say they're aware of a possible plot by an unidentified militia group on March 4th, which of course is tomorrow. And the warning comes as just today we heard from the commanding general of the D.C. National Guard. He testified that during the attack on the Capitol in January, that he waited 3 hours, 19 minutes before being allowed to send forces in to help fend off the rioters. ABC's Rachel Scott on the Hill tonight with this new threat and authorities who say we must take it seriously.
Tonight, the nation's capital on high alert. Officials warning domestic terrorists are plotting another attack on the Capitol tomorrow. The alleged plans uncovered by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security. In an intelligence bulletin overnight stating an unidentified group of militia violent extremists had discussed plans to take control of the U.S. Capitol and remove Democratic lawmakers. That threat linked to a far-right conspiracy theory pushed by QAnon, falsely claiming Donald Trump will assume the presidency tomorrow on March 4th. Tonight, Capitol Police beefing up security around the complex. The lawmakers are still trying to get to the bottom of what happened on January 6th in the first place. After a frantic call for help from the Capitol Police Chief, it took more than 3 hours for the Defense Department to send in the D.C. National Guard. At a Senate hearing today, the commanding general, William Walker, telling lawmakers he felt frustrated that his hands were tied.
At that point, seconds mattered, minutes mattered, and I needed to be ready to get them there as quick as possible.
When the green light was finally given, Walker says they arrived within 18 minutes. But it was too late. Rioters had already stormed the building. So today, lawmakers from both parties asked, why the delay?
I just keep thinking of the hours that went by and the people who were injured.
All agreed that once requested, it took far too long for the National Guard to arrive.
General Walker said senior Army generals were concerned about optics.
The Army senior leaders did not think that it looked good. It would be a good optic. They further stated that it could incite the crowd.
The roughly 340 National Guard troops that were requested by D.C.'s mayor were assigned to traffic control and crowd management, not defending the Capitol. But a stark contrast. Over the summer, when the killing of George Floyd prompted thousands to take to the streets, Walker said it took minutes, not hours, to deploy the National Guard.
Was the issue of optics ever brought up by Army leadership when the D.C. National Guard was deployed during the summer of 2020?
It was never discussed.
Let's get to Rachel Scott. She's live up in the Hill tonight. And Rachel, the Capitol Police Chief has also warned that militia groups have threatened to blow up the Capitol during President Biden's upcoming speech to a joint session of Congress in the coming weeks. We've reported on that already. We obviously know they're taking these threats seriously, but as far as tomorrow is concerned, what are they doing to prepare? What's the presence there tonight?
Well, David, sources telling us tonight that the House has decided to change its floor schedule to get lawmakers out of Washington, D.C. before tomorrow. And still an increased level of security presence here on the Capitol grounds here tonight. You have miles long of razor-wired fencing and still roughly 5,000 National Guard troops on site, David.
All right, Rachel Scott leading us off tonight from the Hill. Rachel, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for...
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day and see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.